Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So, karma is very real, and she is coming for Donald Trump's attorneys. I have a few great stories to share as proof. As you guys all know, attorney Lynn Wood was facing possible disbarment for not just his attempted coup efforts, but also he made very disturbing and threatening statements at events, on social media. There were also allegations that he not only cheated, but physically threatened and then physically attacked his former law partners. So the Georgia bar demanded that Wood undergo a psychological evaluation. They wanted that to help them determine if he was mentally fit to retain his law license. Wood refused. As you guys know, he took the matter to court, but the courts ruled against Wood. And it appeared that unless he agreed to this evaluation, he was going to be disbarred and he would be disgraced even further. Well, Wood made his final move this week. He announced he's retiring. According to legal experts, this unfortunately ends the Georgia investigation into Wood. They say that in other states, an investigation would continue. Even disciplinary action would continue and possibly be enacted regardless of retirement, but apparently that is not the case in Georgia. The good news is Wood will never again be able to practice law anywhere. So unless he's representing himself, he cannot take part in any legal proceedings. And Wood posted on Telegram, quote, "Sorry to disappoint my enemies who wanted so badly to see me discredited and disbarred." Aw, Lynn, that's okay. I mean, we are perfectly happy with this outcome. I think I speak for everyone. Watching your fall from grace. And really, I mean, this is kind of his admittance that he wouldn't pass the psych eval, right? I mean, that's what it seems like. You're not willing to take a psych evaluation to retain your law license. You're just going to give up practicing. Kind of says to me, you think that you can't pass it. I don't know. That's my opinion. Anyway, next up is Wood's former friend and fellow attorney, Sidney Powell. Although I should say this case also involves Wood. About a week or so ago, a federal appeals court ruled that Powell and other attorneys, these so-called Kraken attorneys that worked with her, made a, quote, whole raft of false claims about, quote, hostile foreign governments accessing Dominion voting machines. And this court ruled that the sanctions against them were largely accurate, at least in regard to the dollar amount, and they're definitely appropriate given the circumstances. So this appeals court ruling had to do with the sanctions that were imposed by a Michigan court against Powell and these other attorneys. They were all the ones that tried to overturn the election for Donald Trump. So the court humiliated Powell and the others. They broke down and exposed their sloppiness, their unfounded claims. So, for example, in this court's ruling, it states that the attorneys allege that, quote, Dominion was founded to help former Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez manipulate Venezuelan elections, was based on a Dominion whistleblower report said to be written by an unnamed adult of sound mind. So the appeals court noted, you wrote mine instead of mind, which is funny, but not that big of a deal. But then they went on to say this report that they gave the court didn't even mention Dominion. It talked about an entirely different voting machine company. I'm assuming Smartmatic. So it had nothing to do with what they even said. Did they just graduate from law school? Do they even have a license? Then the appeals court also wrote, quote, the suit relied on an expert described as a, quote, former electronic intelligence analyst with 305th military intelligence with experience gathering SAM missile system electronic intelligence. But the expert turned out to be a Dallas IT consultant who dropped out of an entry-level intelligence course after 7 months of training. And a report that he wrote did not concern the integrity of voting machines, as the suit alleged. It instead concerned the integrity of the voting system's public website. Then the appeals court pointed out that this same IT consultant claimed that Dominion voting machines resulted in nearly 290,000 illegal votes in 4 Michigan counties, but 2 of the counties that he cited didn't even use Dominion machines. So just ridiculous, just so unfounded. They also wrote, quote, another expert used to support hacking allegations said his background included advanced converged telecom, highly advanced semiconductor materials, hospitality, commercial real estate development and operation, as well as running Europe's highest grossing Tex-Mex restaurant. Those cited qualifications, the Sixth Circuit said, made his asserted knowledge of foreign interference with voting machines questionable on its face. I mean, he did run the highest grossing Tex-Mex restaurant in Europe. So, I mean, come on. The guy's an expert in US elections, obviously. And it went on and on like this, with these attorneys just being outed as just unserious clowns who believe all kind of random conspiracy theories online. The court did, however, release 2 of the attorneys from having to pay sanctions because of their minimal involvement in the case. They also reduced a portion of the sanctions by $22,000 roughly. Because they said, some of it was unfair, some of it was calculated wrong. Powell and Wood, though, and several others are still on the hook for approximately $150,000. And then the appeals judges also did find some allegations legitimate, but it had nothing to do with election fraud. They said that the allegations regarding intimidation and mistreatment of Republican election challengers were factual. So they said that did happen, at least based on what they looked at. Next up, now on to Rudy Giuliani. As I recently shared, Giuliani was ordered to pay sanctions because he failed to or refused to comply with the discovery process in the defamation lawsuit brought by Georgia poll workers Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. Well, in my last update, the amount hadn't been determined yet. We knew the judge said, yes, you have to pay. We didn't know how much. Well, now we know Giuliani owes these women nearly $90,000. In a court filing last night, Moss and Freeman said that they've incurred $89,172.50 in attorney's fees just trying to force him to turn over the documents and his communications. So this is just what he owes now. This is not for the defamation. I mean, he will very likely, I would say, be hit with a massive bill, a massive judgment, if or when he's found guilty of defamation in this case. Anyway, guys, just great news. Like I said, these chickens just keep coming home. So I'm hearing them all the time. And again, no farm. All right, I will talk with you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, share this video with everyone you know, become a subscriber, become a donor if you can, or leave a one-time tip or a super thanks, depending on what platform you're on. Links are down below in the description box on YouTube and on the podcast. Greatly appreciate it, guys. Love you all. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.